The contract. Zix stood motionless on the observation deck of his stealth cruiser, his iridescent scales shifting colors as he gazed out at the swirling nebula before him. The vastness of space had long since ceased to inspire awe in the veteran assassin. After centuries of contracts across countless worlds, Zix found little that truly surprised him anymore. A soft chime broke the silence, signaling an incoming transmission. Zix's multifaceted eyes narrowed as he activated the holographic display. The shimmering form of a Vexillor merchant materialized, its tentacles writhing nervously. "Speak," Zix commanded, his voice a low rasp. The Vexillor cleared its throat. "Greetings, most esteemed Zix. I come bearing a contract of the highest value and utmost discretion." Zix remained impassive. "Your preamble wastes my time. State the target and the price." Of course," the merchant stammered. "The target is a human, a scientist named Dr. Ilara Chen. The price, 50 million galactic credits." For the first time in decades, Zix felt a flicker of genuine surprise. A human. And for such an exorbitant sum. In all his years as the galaxy's most feared assassin, Zix had never been contracted to eliminate a human. The species was considered primitive by most advanced civilizations, barely having achieved interstellar travel. They were hardly worth the effort of assassination. The Vexillor's tentacles twisted anxiously. "This human is special. Her research threatens certain powerful interests. The client insists on her immediate elimination." Zix's mind raced, analyzing the implications. For someone to place such a high bounty on a human, the stakes must be far greater than they appeared. "Send me all available information on the target. I will consider the contract." As the Vexillor's image faded, Zix retreated to his ship's data core. Information flooded the screens surrounding him. Images of a petite Asian woman with intense eyes, complex scientific formulae, and fragments of classified reports. Dr. Ilara Chen, it seemed, was on the verge of a breakthrough in faster-than-light travel. Her theories challenged the very foundations of physics as understood by the galaxy's most advanced species. If her work proved successful, it would catapult humanity from a footnote in galactic affairs to a major player virtually overnight. Zix found himself intrigued despite his usual detachment. Humans were not supposed to be capable of such advancements, not for centuries yet. How had this one individual made such a leap? As he delved deeper into Dr. Chen's background, Zix discovered a pattern of rapid human progression that defied all predictions. In the span of a mere century, they had gone from primitive combustion engines to rudimentary space travel. Their rate of technological advancement was unprecedented in galactic history. Zix's research was interrupted by another transmission, this time from a heavily encrypted source. The distorted voice spoke without preamble. "Abandon the contract. The human must not be harmed." Before Zix could respond, the transmission cut off. He stood motionless, processing this new development. In all his years, no one had ever dared to interfere with one of his contracts. The warning only served to pique his interest further. Making his decision, Zix returned to the bridge of his ship. With a few deft movements, he plotted a course for the Sol system. It was time to see these humans up close, to understand what made them so special and so threatening. As his ship entered faster-than-light travel, Zix began his preparations. He activated his molecular restructuring array, a piece of technology far beyond human understanding. Within moments, his alien physiology shifted and reformed, taking on the appearance of a human male. Zix examined his new form in a reflective panel. Average height, nondescript features, easily forgettable. Perfect for infiltration. He would need to study human mannerisms and speech patterns en route, but he was confident in his ability to blend in seamlessly. The journey to Earth took several cycles, during which Zix immersed himself in human culture and history. He found their languages cumbersome and their customs bewildering, but there was an undeniable vitality to their civilization that he had not anticipated. As his ship entered Earth's atmosphere under the cover of night, Zix felt an unfamiliar sensation, a faint stirring of excitement. This contract was unlike any he had undertaken before. These humans, with their rapid evolution and boundless potential, presented a unique challenge. Zix's ship touched down in a remote area outside the sprawling metropolis, where Dr. Chen conducted her research. As he emerged onto the planet's surface, he took a moment to acclimate to the unfamiliar sensations: the cool breeze on his newly formed human skin, the scent of vegetation, the distant hum of a civilization on the brink of a cosmic leap. For the first time in centuries, Zix felt the thrill of the unknown. These humans, with their brief lives and fragile forms, had achieved in decades what took other species millennia. Dr. Ilara Chen stood at the forefront of this transformation, her brilliant mind poised to reshape the galaxy. As Zix made his way toward the glittering lights of the city, he reflected on the strange circumstances that had brought him to this backwater world. The exorbitant contract, the mysterious warning, the impossible advancements, all of it pointed to something far larger at play. He did not yet know if he would ultimately choose to eliminate Dr. Chen or protect her. For now, Zix was content to observe, to learn, and to unravel the mystery surrounding this remarkable species. One thing was certain: his encounter with humanity would be unlike anything he had experienced in his long, blood-soaked career. The galaxy was changing, and Zix found himself at the very cusp of that transformation. As he disappeared into the shadows of the human city, the legendary assassin allowed himself a small smile. Whatever the outcome, this contract promised to be his most intriguing yet. First contact. The bustling streets of New Shanghai overwhelmed Zix's senses. The cacophony of voices, the acrid smell of vehicle exhaust, and the constant press of bodies all threatened to overload his carefully constructed human facade. He had studied Earth's cultures extensively during his journey, but nothing could have prepared him for the sheer intensity of a human megacity. Zix made his way through the crowds, his nondescript appearance allowing him to blend seamlessly with the throng of commuters. His destination was the Zhao Institute of Advanced Physics, where Dr. Ilara Chen conducted her groundbreaking research. As he approached the towering glass and steel structure, Zix marveled at the contrast between humanity's technological achievements and their seemingly chaotic society. Security at the Institute was surprisingly lax by galactic standards. Zix easily slipped past the board guards, his forged credentials passing a cursory inspection. Inside, he navigated the labyrinthine corridors, following the signs to the theoretical physics department. As he rounded a corner, Zix nearly collided with a small figure hurrying in the opposite direction. Papers flew everywhere, and he found himself face to face with none other than Dr. Ilara Chen herself. "Oh, I'm so sorry," she exclaimed, dropping to her knees to gather the scattered documents. "I wasn't watching where I was going." Zix froze for a moment, caught off guard by this unexpected encounter. Quickly regaining his composure, he knelt to help her. "No, the fault was mine," he replied, his carefully practiced human speech patterns coming to the fore. "Please, allow me to assist you." As they collected the papers, Zix caught glimpses of complex equations and diagrams that seemed to defy the laws of physics as he understood them. Dr. Chen noticed his interest and smiled. Fascinated by the scribblings of a mad scientist, she asked with a self-deprecating laugh. Zix met her gaze, struck by the intelligence and warmth in her eyes. "Mad? No. Brilliant. Undoubtedly," he replied. "Your work on quantum tunneling for FTL travel is revolutionary." Dr. Chen's eyes widened in surprise. "You're familiar with my research. Most people's eyes glaze over as soon as I mention quantum mechanics." "I find it captivating," Zix said, surprising himself with his sincerity. "The implications of your theories could reshape our understanding of the universe." A broad smile lit up Dr. Chen's face. "Finally, someone who speaks my language. I don't believe we've met. I'm Dr. Ilara Chen," she said, extending her hand. Zix hesitated for a fraction of a second before shaking it, the human custom still feeling alien to him. "John Smith," he replied, using the bland alias he had chosen. "I'm a visiting researcher from abroad." "Well, John, it's a pleasure to meet you," Dr. Chen said warmly. "Listen, I was just heading to the cafeteria for a much-needed coffee break. Would you care to join me? I'd love to hear your thoughts on my work." Six knew he should decline. Getting close to the target was dangerous, could compromise his mission. And yet, "I'd be honored," he heard himself say. As they walked to the cafeteria, Dr. Chen spoke animatedly about her research, her passion evident in every word. Zix found himself drawn in, not just by the brilliance of her theories, but by her infectious enthusiasm. Over coffee, a beverage Zix found surprisingly palatable, their conversation ranged from the intricacies of quantum field theory to the philosophical implications of faster-than-light travel. Zix was impressed not only by Dr. Chen's intellect, but by her vision for the future. "Imagine it, John," she said, her eyes shining. "A united humanity, reaching out to the stars. We could explore distant galaxies, meet new civilizations, expand the boundaries of our knowledge beyond anything we've ever dreamed." Zix felt a twinge of something. Guilt? Regret? He pushed the unfamiliar emotions aside. "And you believe your work will make this possible?" Dr. Chen nodded eagerly. "We're on the verge of a breakthrough. My team and I have developed a prototype that could revolutionize space travel. If our next test is successful..." She trailed off, lost in the possibilities. As their conversation continued, Zix found his carefully constructed worldview beginning to crack. These humans, whom he had dismissed as primitive, displayed a creativity and drive that rivaled any species he had encountered. And Dr. Chen, her brilliance was matched only by her genuine desire to better her species and the universe as a whole. Their discussion was interrupted by the arrival of a stern-looking man in a crisp suit. "Dr. Chen," he said brusquely, "the director needs to see you immediately. It's urgent." Dr. Chen sighed, gathering her papers. "Duty calls. It was wonderful meeting you, John. I hope we can continue our discussion another time." As she hurried away, Zix was left with a growing sense of unease. The man who had summoned Dr. Chen was watching him with poorly concealed suspicion. It was time to leave. Exiting the institute, Zix's mind raced. His encounter with Dr. Chen had shaken him more than he cared to admit. The target he had come to eliminate was not just a brilliant scientist, but a visionary whose work could elevate her entire species. As night fell over New Shanghai, Zix made his way to a small, nondescript apartment he had rented as a safe house. He needed to reassess the situation, to weigh the contract against what he had learned. No sooner had he entered the apartment than his instincts screamed a warning. He dropped to the floor just as a plasma bolt sizzled through the air where his head had been moments before. Rolling to his feet, Zix came face to face with three armed figures, definitely not human. Their insectoid features marked them as Zarkai, a species known for their ruthless efficiency as bounty hunters. "The contract is ours, Zix," the lead Zarkai chittered. "Stand down or be eliminated." Zix's human disguise shimmered and fell away, revealing his true form. His voice was cold as he addressed his would-be assassins. "You are outmatched. Leave now, and I may let you live." The Zarkai responded by opening fire. Zix moved with preternatural speed, evading their shots with ease. In a blur of motion, he closed the distance, his natural weapons deploying with lethal precision. The fight was over in seconds. As the last Zarkai fell, Zix stood amid the carnage, his mind racing. The presence of other assassins changed everything. Dr. Chen was in imminent danger, and Zix found himself facing a choice he never thought he'd have to make. For the first time in his long, bloody career, Zix considered abandoning a contract. Not out of fear or inability, but because it felt wrong. As he stared at the fallen Zarkai, Zix realized that his encounter with humanity had changed him in ways he was only beginning to understand. With a decision made, Zix moved to secure the area. He had a scientist to protect and a mystery to unravel. The galaxy was shifting, and Zix found himself at the heart of that change. Whatever came next, he knew his life would never be the same. Part 3. The Warning. The aftermath of the Zarkai attack left Zix on high alert. He knew that where there were 3 assassins, more would follow. Time was running out for Dr. Chen, and Zix found himself in the unfamiliar position of protector rather than hunter. As he formulated a plan to secure Dr. Chen's safety, Zix's sensitive hearing picked up the faint whine of approaching hover vehicles. He peered out the window to see a convoy of sleek, black transports converging on his location. These were no ordinary law enforcement units. Zix's suspicions were confirmed when the vehicles disgorged a team of heavily armed individuals in advanced combat suits. Their gear was far beyond typical Earth military technology. Someone had been preparing for extraterrestrial threats. Zix, a voice boomed through an unseen speaker. "We know you're in there. We're not here to fight. We need to talk." The assassin weighed his options. These humans knew his true identity, which meant they were far more informed than he had anticipated. Fighting his way out was possible, but it would draw unwanted attention. Curiosity won out over caution. "I'm coming out," Zix announced. "Any hostile move will be your last." He emerged from the apartment, his alien form fully visible. The armed humans tensed but held their fire. From the center transport, a man in a crisp suit stepped forward. Despite his unassuming appearance, he radiated authority. "I'm Director Marcus Hawthorne, Earth Defense Initiative," the man said, his voice calm but firm. "We've been monitoring your activities since you entered our solar system." Zix's multifaceted eyes narrowed. "Impressive. I underestimated your species' technological capabilities." Hawthorne nodded. "A common mistake, one we've cultivated deliberately. But that's a discussion for another time. Right now, we need to focus on Dr. Chen's safety." "You know about the contract," Zix stated. "We do, and we're here to warn you. Run. Abandon this mission. Leave Earth and never return. It's your only chance of survival." Zix was taken aback. In all his centuries as an assassin, he had never been more of a target, especially not by the very people he was sent to infiltrate. "You're protecting her. Why?" Hawthorne's expression grew grave. "Dr. Chen's work isn't just revolutionary. It's the key to humanity's survival. There are forces in the galaxy that would see us destroyed before we can fully harness her discoveries. We can't let that happen." As if on cue, the night sky lit up with the telltale flashes of orbital combat. Zix's keen eyes picked out the sleek forms of Earth defense ships engaging a much larger alien vessel. "That," Hawthorne said, pointing to the battle above, "is just the beginning. More will come. The contract on Dr. Chen is part of a larger plan to keep humanity contained, to prevent us from joining the galactic community as equals." Zix processed this information, his mind racing. The pieces were starting to fall into place. The exorbitant bounty, the advanced assassins, the mysterious warning he had received earlier. This was about far more than one scientist's life. "Why tell me this?" Zix asked. "Why not simply eliminate me?" Hawthorne smiled wryly. "Because we've studied you, Zix. Your skills, your history, your code of ethics. Yes, you're an assassin, but you're also a being of principle. We believe you can be reasoned with. More importantly, we think you might be convinced to help us." The directness of the statement caught Zix off guard. These humans were either incredibly naive or dangerously perceptive. Perhaps both. Before Zix could respond, Hawthorne's comm unit crackled to life. "Sir, we've lost contact with Dr. Chen's security detail. Last known location was her private lab at the Institute." Hawthorne's composure cracked for the first time. "Damn it. They're making their move. We need to get to her now." Zix made his decision in an instant. "Your ground forces will be too slow. I can reach her faster." Hawthorne hesitated for only a moment before nodding. Do it. Save her, Zix. The fate of our species may depend on it. Without another word, Zix activated his personal cloaking device and sprinted towards the Joe Institute. His enhanced physiology allowed him to cover ground at incredible speed, leaping over vehicles and scaling buildings with ease. As he approached the Institute, Zix's acute senses detected the faint traces of weapons fire and alien pheromones. The attack was already underway. Crashing through a window, Zix found himself in a scene of chaos. The corridors were littered with the bodies of human security personnel, their weapons proving ineffective against the advanced armor of their attackers. Following the sounds of combat, Zix soon reached Dr. Chen's lab. Inside, he found the scientist cornered by 3 alien assailants, members of the Vrek Consortium, known for their brutal efficiency. Dr. Chen was putting up a valiant fight, wielding what looked like a prototype energy weapon. But she was clearly outmatched. Zix didn't hesitate. He decloaked directly behind the nearest Vrek, his natural weapons deploying with lethal precision. The alien fell without a sound. The other 2 Vrek spun to face this new threat, momentarily forgetting about Dr. Chen. It was all the opening Zix needed. Moving faster than the human eye could follow, Zix engaged the remaining assassins. His centuries of combat experience proved decisive. Within moments, both Vrek lay dead at his feet. Dr. Chen stared at Zix, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and fascination. You're not human," she managed to say. "No," Zix replied, "but I'm here to help. We need to get you to safety, Dr. Chen. Your work is too important to fall into the wrong hands." As if to emphasize his point, the building shook with the impact of heavy weapons fire. More attackers would be coming. "Why?" Dr. Chen asked, even as she began gathering crucial data drives. "Why are you helping me?" Zix paused, considering the question. Why indeed? He had come to this planet as an assassin, contracted to end this human's life. Now he was risking everything to save her. The irony wasn't lost on him. "Because," Zix said finally, "your vision for the future is one I find I want to see realized. Now, we must hurry. The fate of your species, and perhaps the galaxy, hangs in the balance." As they rushed from the lab, alarms blaring around them, Zix realized that his entire worldview had been irrevocably altered. He had come to Earth as humanity's would-be executioner. Now, he found himself cast in the role of unlikely savior. The real battle, Zix knew, was only just beginning. Shifting allegiances, the journey from the Zhao Institute to the Earth Defense Initiative's hidden base was a blur of frantic action. Zix, with Dr. Chen and Tao, fought their way through waves of alien assassins, each more desperate than the last to claim the bounty on the scientist's head. As they finally reached the safety of the EDI's underground facility, Zix marveled at the advanced technology surrounding them. Clearly, humanity had been preparing for this moment for quite some time. Director Hawthorne met them at the entrance, his face a mask of relief. "Dr. Chen, thank God you're safe. And Zix, I admit, I had my doubts, but you've proven yourself an invaluable ally." Zix nodded curtly, his senses still on high alert. The immediate threat has been neutralized, but this is far from over. We need answers, and we need them now. Dr. Chen, who had remained remarkably composed throughout their harrowing escape, stepped forward. "I agree. Director Hawthorne, I think it's time you filled us both in on exactly what's going on here." Hawthorne sighed, the weight of his responsibilities evident in his posture. "Follow me. There's something you both need to see." He led them deeper into the facility, past layers of security that impressed even Zix. They entered a vast chamber dominated by a holographic display of the galaxy. Scattered throughout were pulsing red markers, each representing a potential threat to Earth. "For decades," Hawthorne began, "we've been monitoring extraterrestrial activities in our sector of the galaxy. We knew it was only a matter of time before Earth became a target. What we didn't anticipate was the reason why." He gestured to Dr. Chen. "Your work, Doctor, has accelerated humanity's progress far beyond what any alien civilization predicted. We're on the verge of cracking faster than light travel, yes, but it's more than that. The principles behind your research could revolutionize energy production, terraforming, even the manipulation of space-time itself. Dr. Chen's eyes widened as the implications sank in. And that makes us a threat. Hawthorne nodded grimly. To some, yes. There's a delicate balance of power in the galaxy, maintained by a handful of advanced civilizations. They've kept humanity isolated, believing we were centuries away from becoming a spacefaring species. Your breakthroughs have thrown their carefully laid plans into chaos. Zix, who had been silently processing this information, finally spoke. The contract on Dr. Chen, it wasn't just about eliminating her. It was a test, wasn't it? Perceptive as ever, Zix, Hawthorne said. Yes, it was a test. Not just of our defenses, but of our potential allies. The forces arrayed against us needed to know if there were any among the galactic community who might side with humanity. Dr. Chen turned to Zix, a new understanding in her eyes. You were sent to kill me. Zix met her gaze unflinchingly. I was. But upon learning the truth of your work and experiencing the potential of your species firsthand, I found I could not complete the contract. And in doing so, Hawthorne interjected, you've given us hope. You're proof that not every advanced species sees us as a threat to be eliminated. Some might be convinced to stand with us. The holographic display shifted, zooming in on Earth's solar system. A swarm of red markers was converging on their location. We're out of time, Hawthorne said urgently. The Galactic Conclave has decided that humanity is too dangerous to be allowed to progress further. They're sending a fleet to contain us. Permanently. Dr. Chen's face paled. How long do we have? Hours, at most. Our outer system defenses will slow them down, but they won't hold for long. Zix's mind raced, centuries of tactical experience coming to the fore. You have a plan, he stated, reading Hawthorne's body language. The director nodded. We do. But it's risky, and it requires something we didn't have until now. He turned to Zix. You. Zix's multifaceted eyes narrowed. Explain. The Galactic Conclave operates on strict protocols, Hawthorne said. If a neutral third party, say, a renowned assassin with an impeccable reputation, were to formally request a stay of execution and a fair hearing for humanity, they'd be bound by their own laws to grant it. Dr. Chen caught on quickly. And that would buy us the time we need to complete our defensive preparations. Zix considered the proposal. What they were asking went against everything he had stood for over the centuries. He was an assassin, a being of shadows and death, not a diplomat or a savior. And yet, the potential he had seen in humanity, the brilliance and determination of Dr. Chen, the lengths to which these humans would go to secure their future, it stirred something long dormant within him. If I do this, Zix said slowly, there's no going back. I would be marking myself as an enemy of some of the most powerful forces in the galaxy. Hawthorne nodded solemnly. We understand the magnitude of what we're asking, but you've seen what humanity is capable of. Stand with us, Zix, and together we can forge a new future for the galaxy. One of exploration and cooperation, not repression and fear. Dr. Chen stepped forward, placing a hand on Zix's arm. The gesture, so simple and yet so profound, sent a jolt through the assassin's alien physiology. When I look to the stars, she said softly, I see infinite possibilities, mysteries waiting to be unraveled, worlds to be explored, civilizations to be befriended. Is that not worth fighting for? In that moment, Zix made his decision. For the first time in centuries, he felt the stirring of a new emotion, hope. Very well, he said, drawing himself up to his full height. I will speak for humanity before the Galactic Conclave. But know this, if we succeed, if humanity joins the galactic community, there must be change. The old ways of power and control cannot stand. Hawthorne's face broke into a genuine smile. On that, Zix, we are in full agreement. Now, let's save the Earth. As alarms blared and the facility erupted into frenzied activity, Zix found himself at the heart of humanity's desperate bid for survival. He had come to this world as an harbinger of death. Now, against all odds, he had become an ambassador of life. The next few hours would determine the fate not just of humanity, but of the entire galaxy. And for the first time in his long existence, Zix felt the weight of that responsibility and embraced it. A new purpose. The vast chamber of the galactic conclave hummed with tension. Representatives from 100 different species filled the tiered seats, their alien features contorted with a mix of curiosity and suspicion. At the center of it all stood Zix, his iridescent scales shimmering under the harsh lights. "Esteemed members of the conclave," Zix began, his voice carrying across the chamber, "I stand before you to speak on behalf of a species many of you have dismissed as primitive, unworthy of your attention. I speak of humanity." A murmur rippled through the assembled delegates. The Arch-Arbiter, a towering crystalline being, leaned forward. "Zix, your reputation precedes you. Why does an assassin of your renown champion the cause of these humans?" Zix met the Arch-Arbiter's gaze unflinchingly. "Because I have seen their potential firsthand. Their creativity, their resilience, their unwavering spirit in the face of overwhelming odds. Humanity is not a threat to be contained, but an opportunity for us all to evolve." As Zix spoke, holographic displays flickered to life around the chamber, showing scenes from Earth. Dr. Chen's groundbreaking experiments, the valiant defense against the alien incursion, the rapid advancements in technology and culture. The human known as Dr. Ilara Chen has unlocked principles of physics that our most advanced civilizations believed impossible, Zix continued. Their potential for faster-than-light travel is merely the beginning. Imagine what they could achieve if welcomed as equals into our galactic community. The chamber erupted into heated debate. Some delegates argued for humanity's immediate quarantine, while others expressed cautious interest in this upstart species. Amidst the chaos, a familiar voice cut through the din. "And what guarantee do we have that these humans won't use their newfound knowledge to dominate and conquer?" Zix turned to face the speaker, Lyra, the Vexillor merchant who had first offered him the contract on Dr. Chen. Her tentacles writhed with barely contained fury. "We have only to look at their history," Zix replied calmly. "Time and again, humanity has faced extinction-level threats, yet each time, they've emerged stronger, more united. Their greatest achievements have come not through conquest, but through cooperation and shared discovery." He gestured to the displays, which now showed scenes of international cooperation, scientific breakthroughs, and humanitarian efforts. "Yes, humanity has the potential for great destruction," Zix acknowledged. "But they also have the capacity for even greater creation. I have walked among them, fought beside them. Their spirit is indomitable, their potential limitless." The Arch-Arbiter raised a crystalline appendage, silencing the chamber. "Your words are passionate, Zix, but passion alone is not enough. What do you propose?" Zix straightened, his voice ringing with conviction. "I propose a probationary period. Allow humanity to continue their research and development under the watchful eye of the conclave. Let them prove their worth through actions, not merely words." He paused, his gaze sweeping the chamber. "And I offer myself as guarantor. I will remain on Earth, overseeing their progress and ensuring they adhere to galactic law. Should they prove unworthy of this trust, I will personally see to their containment." The chamber fell silent as the delegates considered this unprecedented proposal. The Arch-Arbiter conferred quietly with its advisors before turning back to Zix. "Your offer is unexpected, Zix. Never in the history of the conclave has an outsider volunteered for such a role." The crystalline being's facets shimmered as it contemplated. "Very well. We will grant humanity a probationary period of 1 galactic cycle. During this time, they may continue their research under strict oversight. You, Zix, will be our eyes and ears on Earth. Relief washed over Zix, though he maintained his stoic demeanor. The conclave is wise. Humanity will not disappoint you. As the session adjourned, Zix made his way through the throng of delegates. Many regarded him with newfound respect, while others eyed him warily. He paid them no mind, his thoughts already turning to the challenges ahead. Lyra intercepted him at the chamber's exit, her tentacles coiled tightly in anger. You've made a grave mistake, Zix. These humans will be the doom of us all. Zix met her gaze coolly. No, Lyra. The only mistake was believing we could keep them shackled forever. Change is coming to the galaxy, whether you're prepared for it or not. Leaving the sputtering Vexlor behind, Zix boarded his ship and set course for Earth. As the blue-green planet came into view, he felt a sense of anticipation he hadn't experienced in centuries. He landed at the EDI facility to find a welcoming committee led by Director Hawthorne and Dr. Chen. Their faces showed a mix of hope and anxiety. Well, Hawthorne asked as Zix descended from his ship. Humanity has been granted a probationary period, Zix announced. One galactic cycle to prove yourselves worthy of joining the interstellar community. The humans erupted in cheers, the tension of the past weeks finally breaking. Dr. Chen stepped forward, her eyes shining. And you, Zix, what happens to you now? I am to remain on Earth as the Conclave's representative, he replied, to oversee your progress and ensure compliance with galactic law. Hawthorne grinned. In other words, you're our new alien ambassador. I think we can work with that. As the celebrations continued around him, Zix found himself reflecting on the strange turn his life had taken. He had come to Earth as an assassin, contracted to end a life. Instead, he had become the protector of an entire species, the catalyst for a new era of galactic relations. Dr. Chen approached him, her expression serious despite the joyous atmosphere. Thank you, Zix, for everything. I know this can't have been an easy choice for you. Zix considered her words. On the contrary, Dr. Chen. Once I understood the truth of humanity's potential, it was the only choice. Your species has awakened something in me I thought long dead. Hope for a better future. She smiled warmly. Then let's build that future together. We have a lot of work ahead of us. As Zix looked out over the celebrating humans, he felt a sense of purpose he hadn't experienced in centuries. The galaxy was changing, and he would be at the forefront of that change, guiding humanity towards its destiny among the stars. For the first time in his long existence, Zix looked to the future not with detachment or cynicism, but with genuine excitement. The assassin had become a guardian, the harbinger of death transformed into a shepherd of life. And as the Earth turned beneath a sky full of possibilities, Zix knew that his greatest adventure was only just beginning.